We thought we were prepared, but a massive $16,000 surprise proved otherwise. Here's what happened, what we learned, and what you can do to avoid the same financial stress. I'll walk you through how we use our emergency fund, what went wrong with our planning, and how we're changing our budgeting strategy moving forward. My name is Darren, a regular Canadian who became a passionate investor at 50. I share real lessons from the markets as I document my journey, and I'm still learning, so you don't have to learn the hard way. This is a personal story, but it's also a wake-up call because it doesn't matter how careful you think you are. Life will still throw a curveball, and when it hits, you'll either bend or break. Like most people starting their investing journey, I heard it over and over again. Build your emergency fund first. So I did. We set aside $20,000, enough to cover 3 to 6 months of bills, and it felt responsible and smart. But here's what nobody tells you. An emergency fund is not just for job loss or medical bills, it's also for that moment when everything breaks at once. I originally kept the fund in my Wealthsimple account. They're more than just an investing platform. They offer a high interest rate, cash accounts, and they even have checking accounts now. But once rates started to climb, I moved it over to EQ Bank. Why? Because EQ pays better interest, and for money just sitting on the sidelines, that adds up. We're not talking about chasing 12% returns here. We're talking about making your emergency cash work while it waits. That quiet efficiency is how we've built real momentum in our finances. And let's be honest here, after years with TD where we basically got nothing for our loyalty, this switch felt good. Empowering even. There's a whole video on it in the description below. TD let me down, and if you want to hear more about that rant, look in the video description. So yes, I still use Wealthsimple and I recommend it for beginners, but for parking emergency cash, I'm using EQ Bank with a better interest rate. And you'll find referral links for both in the video description below. Now, I know some of you are probably thinking, why not just use a line of credit or a credit card? Well, the short answer is that's exactly what we wanted to avoid. The stress of carrying debt while also dealing with a broken furnace or surprise bill. That can snowball fast. Having a cash buffer lets you sleep at night and it gives you options. And that peace of mind is worth way more than whatever return we might have gotten by investing that money instead. Okay, let's talk about the moment that punched us in the financial gut. Last fall, our air conditioner was acting up. But we waited. We thought, let's get through the winter and we'll deal with it in the spring. Absolutely a big mistake. Fast forward to the spring, the AC is toast, but that's not all. It turns out that our furnace was clinging to life as well, like it only had one more hockey season left in it. And the HVAC guy basically said, you're one hot summer day away from a full system failure. And in the Okanagan, where summer temps can feel like you're living inside a toaster oven, that's definitely not an option. The bill, approximately $16,000. Let that sink in. Now, most people don't have $16,000 laying around, and honestly, we barely did. Our emergency fund took a major hit. But imagine if we didn't have that cushion. We'd be looking at credit card debt, high interest loans, or worse, no AC in July. Here's how we could have seen this coming. All right, let's do the math here. If we had planned for this over 6 months ago, 16,000 divided by 6, 2,666. Divide that by 2, which is your paycheck, 1,333 per paycheck. Painful, yes, but very doable. You can adjust the budget. You can hustle for a few months. You can cancel subscriptions, skip takeout or dinners, or you can pick up extra work. It's so much easier to chip away at a big expense than to get blindsided by it. Worse, that money sat in a low interest account for months while we waited. We could have had at least been earning something while we procrastinated. Lesson learned here for sure. If that $16,000 HVAC hit wasn't enough, we got another punch to the gut, our property tax. Again, about $5,000, and all at once. Now we live in BC, which apparently stands for bring cash. Now to be fair, we had planned for this. Property taxes were always meant to come out of our emergency fund. Well, that was the idea, and technically we followed that plan. In fact, before we got serious about our own budgeting system, we let our financial institution do it for us. They had set up where they would collect our property tax money throughout the year, and then they would pay it out on our behalf at the end of the year. Now that's convenient, right? Well, yes and no, because while it was automatic, that money just sat there and it was earning the bank interest and not us. It was out of reach, doing absolutely nothing for our bottom line. So when I started investing in 2023 and took more control of our finances, I moved that tax money into our emergency fund. I thought I was being smart, putting it somewhere safe and yet accessible. Now, of course, I realized that was a big mistake because a property tax bill isn't an emergency fund. It's expected and predictable. And when you lump that into your emergency fund, it creates a false sense of security. We thought we had a cushion, but in reality, part of that cushion was already spoken for. Here's what we should have done from the beginning. Now, if you take that $5,000 divided by 12, that's $417 a month, and divide that by 2 into biweekly checks, that's $208 per paycheck. That's manageable. And we could have created a dedicated high-interest savings account just for those property taxes. It could have been earning money the whole time and staying mentally separate from our emergency cash. This was our lesson learned. Because using your emergency fund for things you knew were coming, that's not an emergency, that's a budgeting issue. And the result, when the real emergency hit, the HVAC failure, our emergency fund was already taking damage. Here's where things got even trickier. With both the HVAC and tax costs landing back to back, our emergency fund was drained. And now we're looking at dipping into our investments. The money in our TFSA seemed logical, which seems ideal on the surface, but withdrawals are tax-free, so that's good. We can recontribute the same amount back in the next calendar year. So if I pulled out $5,000 in June, I'd have to wait till January 1st to put that money back in, and that delay could cost us some contribution room if we forgot, or worse, over-contribute and get dinged with penalties. But the biggest problem here is that money is invested, and to pull it out, I'd have to sell positions, which means locking in losses if the markets are actually down, which, let's be real, it often is when life's falling apart because bad news never travels alone. This is why I'm such a broken record about emergency funds. They protect you from investments from being sold at the worst possible time. Like I explained in my video on navigating market downturns, selling during a dip turns paper losses into real ones, and that's a hit your long-term plan might never fully recover from. This whole experience reminded us of the philosophy we believe in, inspired by Ramit Sethi's approach to money and relationships. We want a positive relationship with our finances. That means not living in stress and not blaming each other, not panicking when the things break. So we're making a change. We're going to better prepare when these types of expenses come up by setting up separate accounts and saving in advance. We've learned that lumping everything into one emergency fund doesn't work. It feels like you have a cushion until it's already spoken for. Instead, we're going to create a clear purpose-built saving bucket for recurring predictable costs like property taxes, home maintenance, and big annual bills, even if it's just a simple high-interest savings account labeled annual expenses. That clarity matters. This also means reviewing our budget every few months and asking what's coming down the pipe and how do we spread that cost out. No more waiting until spring to deal with a problem that we should have dealt with in the fall. No more property tax surprises and no more emergencies that were actually just poor planning. We want to feel calm when life gets expensive, not caught off guard. I know that this was a very personal story, but I hope it also is a useful one for all of you and you can learn from it. So let me ask you, have you ever been hit with a huge surprise expense and were you actually ready for that? What would you have done if you didn't have an emergency fund? Now tell me in the comments. I honestly truly want to know your story and I think that others in this community can learn from that as well. And if you want to see exactly how I handled a market drop without panicking, so I didn't have to sell investments at a loss, you should check out this video right here.